higher. And my family, the Chambers family, has 6 generations buried in the ground there, so that's my place to stand. E hara e te mia no naine te roha no na tupuna tuku iho I won't sing anymore. Te whenua, te oronga o te iwi no na tupuna tuku iho whakapono tumanako te aroha no na tupuna tuku iho. I was just read this, and it speaks about generational love for the land, for people coming down, and I think that this meeting is one of those times where we're building on the shoulders of the past and looking forward. And from listening to all the speakers today, we're at a generational change, ethnic change, a gender change, a technological change, and hopefully this intention to set up a ranger association in New Zealand will go on from that. I had the good fortune in 2016 to attend the World Ranger Congress in the United States, and I was just looking at emails with Kit here, and we were talking about a ranger association since 2017. And I was talking to Lou Sanson before, and he was talking about attempts to set up a ranger association years before. And I always thought, how the hell will we get all sorts of different rangers together to be able to have some sort of formal meeting? And I can only thank Cora and those enthusiastic Australians. We love to hate them, but we do love them today. Because this is the perfect time really to instigate something new. Now I'm here not because I'm good at meetings or any of that kind of stuff, but I managed to round up a few extras here who responded to our email about setting up a foundation board or committee, whatever you want to call it. And so I'd just like to introduce those guys. I've got Steve Edwards here from the Wellington Regional Council, Greater Wellington. Bill Wheeler from Tech Park, so he's our local. We've got Janelle here from Rangiora. We've got Chinsia from Northland, and Phil from Christchurch as well. And there are a couple of other people who've offered. Becky Trigg from Auckland Regional Council. Rob Peake was another one who responded. So I guess I'm just presenting you a foundational committee, and we'd love to have any more volunteers who'd like to become involved in the committee. As you've heard, in terms of association, we have to have some structure in terms of a chairman and treasurer and secretary and all that kind of good stuff, and we'll get there. But yeah, today really I just wanted to, I guess, formally, we've advertised it, formally announced it, and so just call to order the first meeting of the, we'll call it Rangers of Aotearoa, New Zealand. We might change the name later depending on what you want, but some sort of homegrown Ranger Association with the ambition to basically, if I can get this thing to work. We got it, holding it together. So we have a draft constitution, because of course you have to have the paperwork to go with these things, and so we're looking at setting up a national body. Whether that has smaller regional committees, I don't know. We've tried to set a low expectation and then we can deliver above that. But the aim is to affiliate with Cora and IRF and enable members to have all the benefits of the good stuff that you've heard and seen about today. And I know a lot of you are in green there in the department, and there's great advantages of being such a big organisation. But there's also advantages in being non-aligned and having some independent engagement with other rangers. And I think we should just recognise that, who is here from the Auckland Regional Council? Auckland, sorry. See, I spent 5 years with the Regional Council many years ago, so the Auckland Council. Hands again. Yeah. Wellington, Greater Wellington Council. Excellent. Department of Conservation. Great. And now, what we do know is that there's a huge number of new rangers, natural area workers in the last few years with Jobs for Nature. So Jobs for Nature aligned people. There's all these young, keen, new people. Kia ora. And there's whānau supported, iwi, hapu supported programs where people are being employed. And I used to work for a small trust, Orton Bradley Park Trust, so I can think of about 6 people in Christchurch who work for small 1 and 2 person operations. They really appreciate that networking and support from other people and having a bigger view. So I'm hoping we can provide an organisation that offers that collegial network, that kind of stuff. So back to the objects and purposes. Overseas Rangers associations are quite different in different styles. Some are quite politically active, some are very quiet. We're looking, I think, perhaps at supporting people for training, for career development, that international exchange. I just had an email yesterday from an American Ranger who wants to come out and link up over here. So even just knowing people when you go on holiday and having a good trip's worth being part of an organisation. There we go. One of the other things that we were talking about was career development training. That there's a few of us in the front row here who are a bit old and grey, and so we recognise our time is coming. But we want to look forward, and where are we getting new rangers from, and how can we encourage them to think of themselves as professionals and have a career plan? I know that the Department of Conservation, even ourselves, we're struggling to hold younger generation rangers nowadays, and so it's that sense of passion, sense of professional identity that hopefully an association can help build. And so that's being part of a bigger organisation. So that's the kind of stuff that we're thinking about the organisation will hopefully achieve for you.
Can you just go back to that previous slide?
This is purely a draft that's fallen out of my head.
Yeah, I just wondered with D, if it's a cross-agency. So I would have thought if we talk about a ranger collective, it's more about the well-being, the development, the promotion of rangers. I'm thinking that if we're...
It's good thinking, and clearly this is just a draft, and hopefully as an organisation we'll fine-tune it and we'll respond to your interests and needs and suggestions. But you've got to start somewhere, so that's what
I'm just wondering if it's cross-agency and we start talking about how the work is going to be delivered, as in D, you might find yourself being limited somewhat.
we don't want to be limited. No, so we can edit that. I wanted to open it up.
I'll give you an example. I don't think I need that, to be honest. The Association of Rangers and Conservationists Victoria, so that's the group that I'm of and previous president. So we don't represent Parks Victoria one agency at all. We've got Melbourne City Council, we've got Phillip Island Nature Park, Parks Victoria, all coming under whatever the object is.
Yep.
So you have the ability to tweak those, but there's some you have to have according to your state or country's constitution.
Yep.
So it doesn't really matter if each organisation has different philosophies, it's about your philosophy. So as long as you can pull it all together and agree to it, you can fly through on that pretty
Great, thanks Andy. Yeah, so there's lots of holes in this situation. But I did want to invite Kit here to give a wee bit of background and his thoughts on an association.
Thanks, Rodney. I've been at this for nearly 20 years, kia ora, by the way. But the mahi has to start now, seeing we've got a lot of you together. And this needs action. A little report. I'm wearing a badge here from the same conference in Rocky Mountain that I was at, and I got roped in by some US National Park Rangers, and I ended up with 2-3 weeks in Yellowstone, looking after a small museum, liaising with park police, pulling up the American flag. I even had to salute it. And I'm bloody pleased, sorry the language, that it was before Trump came in. And I had to pull down the flag and fold it up a certain way. So it was quite an education. But if their flexibility there for volunteers and how they work with the community is a runner. But these are the opportunities. And we can't do it in our agencies. We've got to have a separate agency to do it in. And that means working together as a professional association like the medical association, the doctors, the nurses, the engineers, and everyone else who services our wonderful country. So it's up to you guys. But the mahi has to start now. Now we do need to have a chairperson. We do need someone look after money. We do know where's Darren gone. He's actually trying to get an MOU going so we can get so whether you like it or not, the agencies, the government agencies have to fund us in some way, whether it's DOC or your Auckland Council, which has got about 150 rangers, if they count the urban rangers. And then you've got Christchurch has got a lot, Wellington's got a lot, and I think in Taranaki you've got some. So there are rangers around. And that's not even counting those in the voluntary sector who are doing great work. So it's an opportunity to get these people together. But we do need a chairperson, someone who can lead it initially. This is what I'm proposing. A chairperson, we need someone who can look after the money, someone who can do the MOUs with these various councils and DOC. And what I'm proposing is that we get this group together, sign up, and we have a meeting, we gather together early next year. And the detail on this, in the meantime Rodney can circulate that out, and we can all put our ideas in. I've always given Rodney my ideas. I'm radical. I think we should we should take the Marae idea. Now I don't know if any of you read what Dame Anne Seaman has been saying about this, but she's got some really interesting ideas of how we can be so special and for our own Rangers Association. That would be a wonderful gift to the islands and to the international community. You know, we do need to know, we can't close ourselves more. I've been in touch with some Rangers in Ukraine. Now, you know, what's happening there? So we are so fortunate and so wealthy here. We need to give more out to the world. That's my bit. So I have made that proposal, chairperson, money person, secretary, to have that target of gathering together early next year. I suggest about March time. And possibly in Wellington, Central, and getting those agencies to support that gathering somewhere down there. I'll leave it to the meeting now. I've nominated Rodney here, who's put quite a lot of effort in. He's got a bit of a Facebook, but he's the only one that's present. Unless there's any other nominations. If any other nominations?
Kia ora e te whānau, ko Jessica Bernard, tōku ingoa. I'm a senior bio ranger in Whakatane district. I just want to tautoko the kōrero from up front and say thank you very much for putting this opportunity in front of us. I've had several conversations with some of the people that I know in this room, and I guess I just want to put out there that that this is our opportunity to, as a body of people, separate from the organisations we work for, to come together and support not only ourselves but all the other people in Oceania that as you saw today, would really do with our support very, very thoroughly. And not, you know, maybe to start with it's on a very low level, but even moral support is obviously going to be of some benefit to people as either individuals or the groups that they are out there. Now I've had, as I say, some conversations, and people have said, why can't we do this as DOC? You know, and I think that the reality is that as DOC we are very obliged to be part of the government and part of the way the government wants us to behave. Obviously that changes every 4 years, or not, as the case may be, and that also leaves us to be highly obliged to that government organisation. And what this is an opportunity to still work for this organisation, still do all the good work within what the people of New Zealand are tasking us with, but to also to stand outside of that as a unit, be it through a trust or a charity or an incorporation, whatever you want to call it, to have an effect around us, and maybe even slightly more of an effect than what we currently are able to give in our roles with DOC, because we all know the sort of stresses and strains that we're under in our current positions, and the things that we can and can't do, and the funding that we do or don't have. And okay, that pales by comparison. It's a first world problem for us compared to some of the things we've heard today and yesterday. But standing outside of that, we can actually come together and have a much larger effect, I think, is my opinion, on what's going on in the rest of Oceania. So I would like to just say thank you for giving us this opportunity, and I think that, my support's there. Thank you.
That was really well said. Do I want that?
You love it.
I just thought you just absolutely summed that up all in one, and you did a really well job. I just wanted to add to that is exactly what it does. Like when I first joined the Queensland Rangers Association, yes, I'm obligated by what I need to do in my role with Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service, but all of a sudden I had all these other opportunities for my own personal development, but as well making a difference to somebody else's. And so that's what it's about, is just other opportunities. Things like us coming across the ocean, if we would not have been able to do that in a Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service capacity. We have been able to do this through our QRA and the MOU that we have with the QPWS. So just those opportunities just open up.
I guess it also gives us an opportunity to lobby our employers for more support one way or another. You know, it may not be financial, but it may be with time off or some sort of program equipment. Yes.
Hello from your potential benefactor. It's not every group that gets to start with a bit of a bank account, but you have a wonderful opportunity here. The energy is here. My only suggestion is that you get these people, and not in 6 months, but those people meet later today and start the ball rolling for all the rest of you. And they're all here now. The people that want to be on the board, the people that want to be the officers, just try to get together for an hour or two and form it up right now and start that process. It's energy-wise, it's all here. 6 months, we'll all be back to our job going, why didn't I get that equipment? And where's it? So it's my only suggestion to you, and you want to get that together really quickly, get that bank account. That's my other suggestion to you. So good luck, and I'm there for you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Listen, I've just taken this over, and my nervousness, because I do suffer from anxiety, but this is great. Look, does anyone else, we've got a proposal here. Yep. Is there anyone else that wants to say anything else? Otherwise, we need to get, we've only got a short time here. Rodney will take over very initial kind of chairship. But does anyone else stand up to doing something? Okay, we've got.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, we've got this hand up first.
Hello. Kia ora. Ko Juliet Tokuingoa. I am a community ranger at DOC in Queenstown. I was just curious about what the other positions are and that will be involved. What would be the time commitments? Does it matter if you're in some far off little town that has really expensive flights? How is it all going to work? Because I'm very curious. I think it's a great idea, and I think I have skills that I could contribute, but I don't want to bite off more than I can chew and be overcommitted because it needs to be fun. But I think I can contribute. I've taken more minutes than anyone would ever want to read.
Come over the mic.
And I've read standing orders for a huge regional council and had to tell councillors off for breaking them, you know, and had to stand up for myself, and, you know, and I'm hoping that everyone who would be involved would be a lot nicer than elected councillors.
We didn't have much formal process. I think Joe's offered to chair this from now on. And I think that we've got a proposal for someone to take the minutes. We've got a proposal for Rodney to be chair, but we need to say I think there needs to be some more discussions. Okay,
She's just putting her hand out. Putting her hand out.
Someone else might be way better at minutes than me, you don't know.
proposal
Yeah. Okay, alright. I'm a Kiwi. So we have got the minutes, just so you know. We've got someone, Phil's taking the minutes, and we're getting it recorded as well, so that we have officially got this meeting. Yeah, I know you do. So as a secretary, potentially. Kit's also saying potentially the Aussie should stay out of this. Do you agree with that?
You're from New Zealand,
I was thinking more just as my role as Cora Rep, Oceania representative, that potentially I could chair this now. We could ask for some interest. We could see who's interested in potentially being on a founding committee, and then we give, say, 6 months to progress that a little bit further. And I know that you were talking potentially that there could be an opportunity, hopefully if we can find some funding, to have another meeting, and that's where the action starts, like really get things into play. Well, you got the funding, yes. But there's also a bank account. Yes?
So I just want to, it's awesome, and I've watched this stuff occur before, but I agree totally with where you're going. I'm Michael Joyce, by the way, from the Queensland Rangers Association, and I get it, you don't want too many Aussies involved. But what I'd suggest you do today is one of those things is get down those who want to be members. You know, get that list going, basics. And then that will give you that foundation. Oh, you have that?
We do have that. Okay. I mean, that was asked in your registration if you were interested. Well, potentially was interested if you were interested in attending this meeting, wasn't it? And talking about discussions further. No?
I probably do.
Okay.
But this is great.
just one technical point. My NGO that I'm vice chair of has passed a resolution last month with the Friends of Regional Parks. They support the formation of a New Zealand Ranger Association. We're a registered charity. I've got a bank account. We already hold other trust monies and we hold monies from other organisations and projects. So the bank account, and probably there are other places, but we can hold funds there to be used, whatever, until the full association's formed. So any other interest? I think we're in now. Any other interest of people who want to join this group?
Yep.
Well, I think we should all come up.
Yeah.
And
I mind. Come on up. Yeah. Anyone?
who's going to be the secretary? We need to.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is organised chaos. We really do have a plan, and it's not symptomatic of where we're going to be in the next 6 months, but the excitement's too much for some of us. Look, I'd just like to nominate these folks as your initial founding 12 months committee, and if you would vote by acclamation and accept them as a starting point, and yeah. Thank you very much. We'll am amazed that, you know, out of the woodwork has come some young, keen, exciting people. And so these kind of organisations, you can see Jo here is just can't resist the enthusiasm. She's the workhorse for the Queensland Radio. So we will need passion, we will need charisma, so we will need some dynamic people, and I'm pretty sure we've got some here. And so we've got big ambitions, but we'll start with low expectations. And for the organisation, thank you. Now, I don't want to put too much on these folks, but yeah, so I appreciate that. And I think within us we've got a secretary. Yep, anyone wants to be a treasurer? I mean, it'll be very low key. Good on you, Janelle. Yeah. I mean, the situation is a shock to us with Mike, and I'm personally just a little embarrassed, really, that as a country with so much resources that we're, it's a little embarrassing. But we'll take his money in American dollars, by the way, too, because ours is not worth much at the moment. But it's fantastic. I was thinking we were going to need, and we will need, sponsorship in terms of being able to support, because of a country like this. I used to work with the Coastal Restoration Trust, and having meetings, just flying people around the countryside is a bit of a trick. So we will need that kind of support for travel to get to meetings and things. Zoom just doesn't cut it sometimes, but thank you very much. Anyone else? Any other comments? Any aspirations? Kia ora.
I do. Tēnā tātou. I haven't actually introduced myself, but you've heard my waha mouth move a lot. Hoi anō ko Pohoira Hughes I opata tōku ingoa. I don't usually need one of these either. I just wanted to signal that I wanted to have a talk. I'm a treaty implementation ranger for the department. My back's facing yours, so I'll come and stand next to you because I think you're great. And I'm really passionate about our people, eh? So I've only just said, yep, I'll stay permanently at Doc this week, and I'm all good to share that with fellas now because I didn't tell anyone else until they all found out on Monday as well. That's not what I'm talking about though. What I do with my mahi is I actually work with our people, whānau, hapu and iwi. And I'd like to offer, mate, my services because, I haven't got a formal ticket to translate, but I've grown up 27 years in the thick of it. I live with my 74-year-old grandmother, and I'm still lucky to have her father around the corner that's 95. So fundamentally for me, charities kōrero earlier took me back to our 6th generation who had her 14 tamariki deep in Te Urewera. Now that's a whole nother yarn, don't talk to me about that while I'm on my document. But why I wanted to share, mate, is I think that I come from a background when I was in university as student politics. I was the kautumuaki for Te Manaakonga, and in that we fought for the inequalities and just the inequities for our people to even try and get a degree, and trying to hype up the first year students to stay on board, much like what a lot of our dokakazis try and do to keep ones like me on board. And so what I want to offer, mate, is too often that I see groups start up at my whare wānanga that weren't part of the Māori Association, that were great ideas, but then started to get a bit pear-shaped when they didn't have anyone that was Māori on board to help them translate what they needed to, where they needed to, and when. So what I'd like to offer is, you didn't name it, and I'm not actually sure what it'll be called, but maybe like a cultural...
What about President?
Oh, no. But I'm sure I'm only 27. I'd love a youthful. Oh, but what I'd just like to offer, I'm not sure what responsibilities come with that. I'll have to check with my 3-year-old. But I'd really like to offer my language and my skill, mate, because I think that if we're going to really form this in Aotearoa, and it's the first time that we're going to do it, well, we better do it together. And then just a little bit of a whakamārama just to close off my kōrero. I won't sing, but the song I sung for Kohu yesterday, we might have heard the Māori Party champion it quite a bit. Now it comes from a great proverb, whakatauki, by Āpiranga Ngata. E tipu e rea mō nā rā o tō au. Ko ringa, ki te rākau a te Pākehā me nā mātauranga te Māori, that's the sort of yarn that is. So what that's actually saying is, to grow and live a prosperous life, but you can't do it on your own. You've got to do it together, and that's what I want to offer for you today, mate. So we're going to
Kia ora. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Yes, Reg.
Yep. Kia ora koutou. Ko Reg Phillips toku ingoa. Mihi uaka kia koutou te whānau uhi mai. Tinene wā. Sorry, bit of a stumbler. I'm not into the the speaking in front of crowds, but I think just riding the groundswell and the enthusiasm in the room, I can sort of probably speak on behalf of the whānau from Te Kaunihira or Tamaki Makaurau. Where we probably, and I think Jessica sort of alluded to it earlier, it's how we navigate ourselves in the organisations that we work for. And I love the concept of actually us getting together and unifying. But my other big thing as well too is that I think we should just be bold and go big with what we want to do with this. We've toyed around, basically in these COVID times have changed society significantly, and we've toyed around in the regional parks, at least our space at least, on what a world-class ranger service looks like. And I think even that is an aspiration for where we go is really big, and as well as some of the principles. I mean, I've been blessed to have worked for Te Papa and then gone into the regional park space. We serve our communities, you know, like everything about us is about knowledge and passing that on, you know, like our efforts are on the shoulders of giants before us. So I think, you know, some basic tenets like serve your communities, go big, be world class, and possibly mentoring. One of the big things we grapple with in our organisation is what does mentoring look like. Te Papa, you're blessed with the fact that everything about you is overt and is about service. You know, like people see the badge, see the trucks, they relate to you as rangers and your service in your communities. Sometimes in organisations like council, we're probably a very obscure part of a very big organisation. So part of what we need to do is actually sell ourselves really well, and that's why I say go big or go home with what we're planning to do, and let's think big, because I would rather be part of an association that I can take up the line and say to my employers, this is what we need to be, okay? So yeah, that's my only thing, that's my only advice is let's go big with this, okay? Kia ora.
There's a value statement in our constitution, and I did nick it from Wildlands, but the concepts of kaitiakitanga, kotahitanga, mana, my glasses on. Mana taki, mohoiotanga, rangatiratanga, whakapapa. All those things are what we should build into our organisation right from the beginning, and the whole idea of inclusiveness. And I mean, that's where the future is, and that's where this organisation needs to go. So thank you very much, I appreciate, and I mean, I would like to nominate you as a member of the committee, and maybe vice. I mean, it's all low key to start with. We'll figure it out as we go, and so I just invite everyone to support our sister here with an acclamation. It'll be great. Thank you very much.
Sorry, keep butting in. Chelsea's butting in. Rodney, Kit, and Bill, and Steve, and Becky have had these meetings up to this stage, and we're really unsure how this was going to end up. So I probably could speak on their behalf that they're probably absolutely bloody wrapped because there's so much enthusiasm. It's probably more than I thought would be here. So it's very exciting. I guess the thing that I have seen, though, I don't want to sound negative, is that momentum needs to continue. Yep, it might be excitement in here, but once we all walk out there, we've got our lives. So I want to propose that we lock in some things here, if that's okay with you guys. There was a nomination by Kit, and I want to see, is there anybody else that is interested in taking on the leadership role for, say, the next 6 months, just in this founding phase? You are? Okay. Well, there we go. We have got our first election. No. We need to make this fair. We need to make this fair. So you two are going to go out of the room and we have a vote. Yeah. Oh, okay, so you weren't putting your hand up as president? Okay. Well, potentially.
Can I nominate Jess to go on the committee?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well look.
So we get.
You reckon? Okay. All right. Well, hang on. Are we noting this down? We need to write this down. We need to make sure. Yeah, we got it. So let's do it systematically. We have a vote for somebody. Someone's got to second it. If there's somebody else that also wants that position, we need somebody to vote that person and second it. We then need to ask these two if they're interested in that position. If they both say yes, then we have an election. Okay? Does that make sense? I didn't think we would be getting that far, but that's awesome. More the merrier. So, my name's Margaret Metcalf. I'd like to nominate Jessica Bernard. And Pete, were you going to second? Was it?
We're taking the motion for Jessica.
As president. Is this as president?
She said to offer her service.
You need to say, I'm nominating her for a president role.
What do you want, Jess? What do you want, Jess? Shall we say committee?
Sorry guys, I'm going to butt in because I've been involved in this from an early stage, and also this I was involved in at an early stage, and I thought it was a lousy idea. An old guy, grey beard, who spoke far too much in public, called Gordon Miller, came to me one day when I was the treasurer of the Association of Countryside Rangers in the UK and said, we want to do this conference. And I know, yeah, we already have a conference, Gordon. You know that. You've been president of our association. You know how it works. No. Poland. We're going to go to Poland and have this conference. Yeah, okay. Well, I met these guys on holiday, and we think this is a really good idea for an international ranger thing. And we sat down and we talked about it, and in the end, I wrote a cheque, not my cheque, it was the association's cheque, to support that conference, thinking, well, that's the last we'll see of that money, and that's the last we'll see of Gordon's International Ranger Federation. That was 1994. Look where we are now. But I don't think at that time those guys had any idea who was going to be the president. And you saw Joe's thing with all the delegates. You know, some of those people I've worked with for years, I consider close personal friends, and I never expected that they'd be world famous, you know, up on the screen. But at that stage, those guys had no idea how this was going to work, whether they'd have more than just the English Rangers, the Scottish Rangers, and the Portuguese and the Polish, I think, were the first couple. Never thought it would go across the whole world. And so they didn't worry too much about who was the president, who was the chairman. They just wanted to get it off the ground. My proposal would be that whatever we do today is just a holding pattern. Let's decide what we want the structure to look like. Do we want presidents, vice presidents? Do we want to call them co-lead? It's all words. Let's just make sure that we do the May and get that done, and then make a commitment to Cora and make it to Mike, wherever he's disappeared to, that we'll have our bank account set up and we'll have our constitution. Oh, there you are. And we'll have a constitution in place so that we can have proper elections. However we do those elections, obviously we'll decide. But can I just throw that into the mix and say, hey, look, let's not force anybody to take on a role or give them a job title. Let's take these wonderful people who put their hands up, work out how it's going to work, talk to you guys, and then we'll build a structure. And hopefully there'll be some old grey-haired buggers like me and Rodney, and some lovely, young, wonderful, beautiful people like you.
Okay, the other option, sorry Bill.
Sorry, you don't joke.
No,
I felt I had my say.
I get what you're saying, like I was jumping the gun. What So Andy has run our last 2 elections at IRF, yes, the last 2 elections. What we could do is purely, it's just getting some people into those positions in an informal way. It's just putting a name to that positions to get the ball rolling. And then say you come together in 6 months' time, in March, let's say, when we're all fresh after New Year and have done some mahi, is it? Yeah. Then you've got those leaders that have kept the momentum going. You come back and meet, and then you're ready to do your formal election. How's that sound? Yeah? So, Andy is actually going to take over because he needs to clarify the 4 positions, and then let's put some names to those. Yeah? Have I confused you?
Andy taking over is not real either. She's the boss, always the boss. Okay, so Rodney had it up on the board earlier, but I think a lot of people might have missed it, is when you become an association in your country or state or territory or whatever it becomes, there will be bylaws in that country that determine what your constitution looks like, what positions you need to have, what your rules of engagement and all that sort of stuff are. So that, I don't know what your laws are here, because in Australia, every state is different. So it is bloody confusing at times. But when you establish a ranger association, there are essentially 4 key positions. And this is what I was trying to say before. Rather than say who wants to go for what, let's talk about what those 4 things are. Because you might go, I'm not interested in that one, I want to do that one. Now, the 4 key positions will be different in every association. As I said before, I've been a member of 4 plus the IRF. They're all different. And what you call them is up to you, right? You can call it president, you can call it chairperson, whatever you choose. But essentially your lead person, chair, is not the person that does everything. You have to understand that the president gets burnt out, or the chair, I'm saying it because it was me, president, getting burnt out. The chair will get burnt out if you leave everything to them. So the support network you put under that lead person is more important than the person at the top. Yeah. So, chairperson or chair is not just the person that does all the talking with your sponsors, all the talking with DOC and all the other groups. That's everybody. But that person is your incident controller, to use that sort of terminology, right? Person that helps pull you through, provide guidance, doesn't make all the decisions, but is there to support and pull everybody together. So think of it like that. Funny enough, the vice president will actually do more work, right? But they will be the one that's sort of coordinating all the other people in your association. So all your other positions, sort of, you think of it in terms of a structure, right? So your vice president is your operations coordinator, or ops manager, or ops officer in an incident control type setup. So you'll have your, at some point in the future, you'll have your comms and engagement, your social media person, your cultural advisor, or whatever it is, tend to report to that person, not all to the chairperson. So there you two I see, right? Vice president, and then you'll have what is essentially a secretary or a business manager. And I'm going to go through all this tonight on my slides. But they're the person that will do the books. But more importantly, they will do your membership. Organise meetings, maybe taking minutes, but your membership is just as important, if not more important, than the dollars you have in your bank account. So that person needs to keep on top of who is a member, who wants to become a member, all that sort of stuff. That's your secretary, and then you have your treasurer, who is your books, right? But those two work very closely together because they are intertwined no matter what you do. Those 4 people don't have to do everything. It's like our organisations at work, right? You can have other people helping those positions that don't have a title, but they're the persons accountable. Again, just like our structures at work. So if you think about those 4 key things in terms of your work structure, incident structure, event structure, they're the sort of 4 things you want to get off as an interim leadership group, right? And then you could decide what you want after that. You could end up with a regional rep for the North Island, South Island, however you want to break it up. So
there's a whole heap of opportunities that flow on from that. I've just been told that there's a book going around for everyone to put your names.
Good idea.
Lovely.
Email and a phone number,
Yeah.
if that's all right too.
So it is really important that whoever ends up in those 4 or 5 positions, because I think you throw the cultural advisor in there straight away, sorry. Those 5 positions, you've got to provide them support. Every Ranger Association, including the IRF, we do it as volunteers, right? I've got a job that takes me 10 hours a day. I've got a family. I've got 3 hats I wear in different groups. Everyone has to have support, right? So whether you end up in one of those 5 positions or not, you support them, help out when you can, you know, whatever the demand is. So I reckon if you've got any interest in one of those 5 positions, we'll go through it today. You know, an election process is normally confidential to a point, but if you're happy, we can do hands up. But from a proper governance process, so that one day someone doesn't turn around and go, how did that person get that job and why didn't that person get that job? You do an elections for an interim committee, you sort it out later. So what we would do is we go, okay, nominating one is Rod, that person has been nominated by Kit, and then we ask for a seconder. All right, and then Jessica is nominated, then Joe Bloggs could be, and Peter could be, and Leah could be as well, whatever the case is. But if you're happy to do that, I can do it here right now. We'll make it fair and equitable, and you can make it as open as you want, and we'll just count hands. Don't need to worry about ballot boxes and stuff. Absolutely.
I just suggest a show of hands.
Yeah.
Because this is just interim.
This is your group. The IRF doesn't dictate the way you have to do elections. This is your group. You can say, nah, let's not do it today. But I think to establish a leadership crew to take this forward, I think the best thing is you do it today.
So can we do it collectively? The is it 4 already or 5 that have been working together so far? Jessica and Poihora. Can we just collectively? I don't know. Is there anybody else that wants?
You're writing the rules as we go.
Yeah. Can we just say?
Yep. Was there anybody else that wanted to put their hand up for chairperson?
Are we able to?
No, not for chairperson. Just to be on the.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
just
Margaret.
those roles.
Just to go. Okay.
Are we able to say the role?
Yeah.
And just see who wants to who's interested?
Okay.
And then we can have a vote.
Okay. So how about we do those 5 positions?
Right. So starting with maybe the chair and then
Start chair. Yep. Can I make another suggestion? Aim for as much diversity as you can in your group. Okay? Just try not to all end up on one side or the other. Too top heavy with management and not enough Ranger experience. Both diversity, inclusive. Right? Okay, so you happy to do it that way? We'll go position, name, and we'll throw hands in the air. Okay. We'll call it chair. Chairperson. Okay, we've got 2. Is everybody happy to accept those nominations? Yep. Okay. Here we go. You want to do it open? We'll do it open.
Or do you want to leave the room?
Sorry, hold on.
If we're doing a vote, can we just have like a 30, 60 second like
Oh, I feel.
Like,
Oh, here we
not
go.
put me on the spot, it's just I don't know yet. Can we go
Okay.
Let's go. Like why you did it, you know? Yeah.
Could we have co-chairs as well?
Can we have
So vice, you can, but you have like a chair and a vice chair. That tends to be the normal structure, but you can have whatever structure you choose.
Andy, can I just say, in this very early stage, let's keep it really simple. And let those sorts of decisions be made, 6 months down the line or however long it takes to sort things out. It's, it just might make it a bit more straightforward, that's all.
Just form a committee.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So this is an interim committee.
Yeah, but they can work out who's going to be the chair.
Oh, I think there needs to be a clear pathway of who's going to be yeah. Okay, we've got 2. Do you want to do pledges and offer jelly beans and all sorts of bribes and
things
stuff?
like that. You have heard me earlier. My name is Jessica Bernard. I'm the Senior Ranger of Biodiversity No, thank you. Can somebody not hear me?
Yeah, the video.
The
No,
video?
you're good. I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic.
Just
okay.
project as you go.
So I'm the Senior Ranger Biodiversity in Whakatane. My background with DOC goes some 27 years back, right from a ranger in the field, cleaning toilets, counting birds, cutting tracks, doing all that sort of thing, through to being the field centre manager, which is now the operations manager on Aotearoa, Stewart Island. And currently I'm feeling like I'm on my way out with regards to DOC and with regards to being a ranger. The body's given up, but the brain still wants to be there, and I want to spend my time supporting the young rangers coming through in our office, and I'm hoping that I have demonstrated that to my colleagues previously. And in the same light, I would love to be part and parcel of an organisation that is supporting other rangers around the world, morally, financially, with equipment, with whatever we could muster, and alongside that, talking the Department of Conservation into being part and parcel of that, because I think that's going to be our greatest challenge at this point, is to ensure that the department feels the same way as what we do about supporting other organisations and other rangers. And while I'm standing here looking at a nomination for chair, what I really want to do is be part of this picture and to contribute in whatever way I can. My background with regards to chairing things has always been at a level of either a manager scenario, or a chair of a committee, or a captain of a football team. So yeah, take that how you will. I think that at the end of the day, bringing people together and getting them on the same waka is probably where my strength lies. So yeah, give you
Could I withdraw my nomination?
Oh.
I'll stand.
How mean is that?
Let me say.
A chair and a vice chair.
Look, I'm impressed by this lady, and so I'm happy to withdraw, and I'll put my hand up for vice chair or something like that.
Democracy. Yeah, thank you.
Kiwi democracy.
Aussie democracy. No, I know. So is everyone happy with that decision to accept Jessica as your interim chair? This is where it gets hard. Are those opposed?
Don't be shy.
So when you get to your associations and you've got to do proper governance, these are the hard questions.
If you work for her, she's retiring.
You don't always have to agree either. Okay, fantastic. Well done, Jessica.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now accept nominations for vice chair.
Rodney.
Oh, surprise.
Yeah.
Any others? Any others?
But you're a New Zealand hat.
Okay, is everyone happy to accept that nomination unopposed?
Aye.
Any opposed to that? No, they're good. Well done, Rodney. Okay, our first gender equality.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, next one, we'll go for secretary first.
Who nominated Rodney for chair for the minute?
Steve did.
Steve Evans.
Secretary.
I think she's doing it.
The lady doing it.
Julie.
I second that.
Any other nominations? Is it Juliet?
Well, yes, that's my name. Do you want a 10-second spiel?
No, you're the only nomination. You can say I like long walks on the beach. It doesn't matter. They're going to vote.
Cool. If someone can hand me the list of people writing their names and emails down at the end, that would be awesome.
Okay, do you accept? Any opposed? There you go, Jessica. Well done. Treasurer. Treasurer. One of the thankless jobs in
this is nerve-wracking. I might not be the right person for the job, but I was the treasurer for the Auckland Uni Champion Club for a year. That is my only experience as treasurer. So.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Are you good with spreadsheets?
Oh yes.
Done. Right, that's it. That's your qualification for secretary. A treasurer. That's all you need. Okay. Everyone happy to accept? Was it Abby, wasn't it?
Yes, Abby.
Everyone happy to accept Abby? Any opposed? Here's where you find out who your friends are.
It's nothing personal, Abby, but we're talking about diversity and everybody's now from DOC.
No. I'm just a lowly city council ranger.
I hope everyone else doesn't feel like it's a DOC takeover because
they've still got less than a minute.
So we've still only interim, right?
Yeah, I know.
This is to pull you all together and knock things out.
We have up to 12 or 15, I think, committee members who are, in terms of voting for things. And as I look here, there's a bit of green down that end, but there's a few black and grey here.
Just on this.
Yeah. So I'm happy with the diversity. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we didn't talk about, we only talked about those 5 positions, and we've still got the cultural advisor to do.
Let's do that first.
Okay. Cultural advisor. Are you going to nominate? Yes.
Koe te whakaaro koe kia tū tō ringa. E pōhehe au koe rā te take. Hey. Alright.
I take it by the finger pointing. It's a
Yeah. I was just politely asking
Yeah,
him if
absolutely.
he was naming the positions before to potentially put his hand up.
I was about to suggest that
Oh, Nick.
respect for our country, we should have a cultural person or a cultural role there who can speak on that.
100%. And one of the things I'm going to talk to you all about tonight, and you're going to be sick of me by tonight, is creating a cultural engagement manager position for Fora. So I see it as critical. Are you happy with that?
I think absolutely.
Everyone, hands
Yeah.
up.
Cool.
Any
I
opposed?
want to make a move.
Sweet.
Sure.
There's your, let's call that the interim executive committee. Right?
In front of you.
Wait. Oh. You've done it? Yeah, everyone's done it.
Well done. There's still more at the back.